I cannot find the top of my microphone right now, so we're just gonna have to deal with bare microphone with no top today. Hello everyone, my name is Angie. Welcome to my channel and welcome to my mid-year reading tag. I feel like at some point people stopped saying the mid-year freakout tag and now it has become just like the mid-year reading tag. So I'm not really sure what to call it. I've never done this before. This is my first time ever doing this tag. I'm also not like super seriously following the questions. Well, like I am, but I've kind of taken an amalgamation and a combination of various different people's tags that I've seen. Because it seems like some people add questions, some people take off questions. I think I just went to someone's video and I went to their description and whoever had the most questions, I just kind of like took that one. I know that there are original creators of this tag. I'll link them down below, but I don't know if they're still active or not, but I'll link them anyway so you can find them. So how many questions are there actually? There's like a bunch of questions, guys. So we're going to be here for a second. So get cozy and we'll just kind of talk about how my reading year is going so far. Approximately midway through the year. I'm doing this a little late. It's getting to the end of the year at this point, but whatever. It's still technically July. The very first question is, how is your reading year going? And I've had better reading years, that's for sure. As of me filming this video, I've only read 30 books this year. I mean, not only 30 is still like a good amount of books and I'm still on track to hit my reading goal of 50. If we're just looking at numbers, this is technically my worst reading year since like 2022. As readers and definitely myself, I don't try to think of the numbers too much, but I'll admit that sometimes I do compare myself to people. Like, I'm not perfect. So it's not always great when I compare my 30 books to like, people that have already read over 100 or even like 50 books. But that's okay. That's okay. That's something I need to work on, guys. You don't need to worry about that. And then, not talking numbers. My reading year has kind of just been, I don't know. I think it has been a little lackluster, unfortunately. There are some books that I've really, really enjoyed, and I am stepping out of my comfort zone, which is really helping me a lot. But there's definitely been quite a few books where I was like, well, that was just a book that I will never remember. Other than like a couple of books, there's nothing that has been super stand out. Maybe I'll feel differently, honestly, by the end of this tag, by the end of this discussion, just because, I'll be going a little bit deeper into my thoughts on all of the books that I've read. But as of right now, as of this moment, I would probably describe my reading year as being lackluster. And then something that I probably need to consider during this tag, and maybe it would also help you to consider while I'm talking about these books and talking about these questions, is that I have a pretty small sample size of books that I am able to talk about at this point in the year. That's also something to consider about my particular mid-year reading tag. The next question is, what is the best book that you've read this year? And like I said, I haven't had too many standout books, honestly, but I think I know what my favorite book this year has been so far. And it's an alien romance book. I had a whole little alien romance phase, and it's because of this book. It's Ruling Sickthand by Victoria Aveline. This is like the 7th or 8th book in the Clocanian series. The Clocanian series is an alien romance series that I love. It's great for beginners if you are interested in getting to alien romance. I love this book. This book is so, so good. I love this series in general. The Clocanian series is your typical like alien abduction kind of story, but don't worry, the people doing the abducting are not the love interests at all. That usually is not the case in alien romances, honestly. On Clocania is kind of like dying out because of this sickness that happened several years ago that wiped out a bunch of the women of this people. It's actually like a matriarchal society, which is really, really cool. Like there's a queen that's like over everything. And also like the men are taught from a very young age to like only do whatever their like wife wants or whatever any of the women want, which is great to read. It's like perfect escapism, honestly. But by Ruling Sickthand, as you can imagine, since like I said, this is like the 7th or 8th book in the series, we're pretty far into the storyline, okay? Because yes, each book does follow a different couple, but there is an interwoven story throughout. The main character, Sophia, at the start of this book, or really it's actually at the end of the previous book, she is part of a group of humans that is touring Clocania, and they're touring because they're like trying to like show off the humans. It's like very complicated. I don't want to go like too far into the plot in case you do want to read it. It's also too hard to explain the plot of like basically 7 books. But just know she's on a tour with all these humans. They're visiting this one city that is perceived to be very almost evil. Like they're just like a bit darker, a bit more menacing. And the king of the city abducts Sophia at the end of the previous book. And then, the new book kind of starts with their romance. So Ruling Sickthand is indeed Sophia's romance with the king that abducted her. And his name is Sikthand. That is his name. But yeah, no, this book is like super, super good. This is like top tier alien romance. I was blown away. I inhaled this book at a time when I was not inhaling books like that. Like I was not voraciously reading. And I was also on vacation when I read it, which, you know, like if you are reading a book on vacation and you want to read that book instead of like kind of go do stuff, that is saying a lot. Because whenever I read books on vacation, it takes me like the whole time. And also I don't remember anything that like happens, or like it's just like, it's always just like such a blah book. Can't even tell you exactly what I liked about it other than it is just like a really, really good book. This whole series, like I said, is really, really, really good. What I love so much about the Clicanian series, and I will scream this from the rooftops, is that you can see Victoria Avalon's improvement with each book in the series. Her writing gets better. The story becomes so much more interesting because she's like slowly revealing stuff to you. Because there is a lot of politics in this series, honestly. And this is a huge planet with a bunch of different cultures that she is creating. And I don't know, she's incorporating everything so seamlessly. I don't know how many books there are going to be in the series, but I think she could keep going forever because there's so much. I also read the next book in the series, and that one was also really, really good. Not as good as Ruling Sikthand. I think I just preferred Sikthand a little bit. I'll probably talk a little bit more about him later too, but he's like this like really broody guy, and I love a grumpy guy. Like I love a grumpy MMC so much. I feel like I've been rambling on about this book, but I'll go ahead and move on to the next question now. The next question is the best sequel that you've read in 2025. And I could talk about Ruling Sikthand again. I really, really could, but I won't. Though I was looking through my list of books that I've read, and I haven't read too many sequels. I think the only sequels I've read have been the like 3 books in the Clicanian series, Lost and Lassoed by Lila Sage, which is the 3rd book in the Rebel Blue Ranch series, and then Ruthless Fae by Caroline Peckham and Suzanne Valenti, which is the 2nd book in the Zodiac Academy series. And it's like kind of hard, like, I don't know, I don't really know which of these to choose. Obviously, you know, I could choose Ruling Sikthand, but we're not going to. So, you know, eliminate that. Then we have Ruthless Fae and Lost and Lassoed. Lost and Lassoed was fine. I have a weird thing with the Rebel Blue Ranch series where I read these books and I technically like them, and then the second I close the page, it's like it never happened, which I actually don't mind because that means I can always go back and reread it. But I don't want to choose that. And then it feels weird choosing Ruthless Fae because that is like a reread. I think it was like the 3rd time I've read this book. Okay, guys, look, you can say all that you like about Zodiac Academy. In fact, please do. I am not ever going to defend this series. I just know that for me personally, this series is like rewatching a comfort trashy teen TV show. Even though I was very much an adult when I read the series, that is the feeling that I get when I reread the series. I honestly would love to do like a reread of the whole thing, but I also don't want to commit to that. So I think if I had to choose, I would choose none of them. So next question. This next question is very fun, which is your favorite reread. I love talking about these books, so I'm really excited. I have two books, or maybe the only 2 books that I have reread, but I loved them and I love them again. And so they're both my favorite. The first one that I'll talk about is A Deal with the Devil by Elizabeth O'Rourke. I also talked about this in my first quarterly wrap up. I love this book, guys. I love this whole series. I've talked about it several times. I will talk about the series every chance that I get. Perfect summer books, perfect rom-coms. When I was reading this book, all I could think is I want to write a book like this. If I were to write a romance book, I'd want it to be like this. I would want people that read my book to get the same feelings that I get when I read this book and other books in the series as well. So A Deal with the Devil is the first book in the Devil series by Elizabeth O'Rourke. This book is a like boss employee romance, I guess. I mean, not I guess. That is what it is. Our main character, Tolly, she's kind of going through a bad financial situation, but it works out because her really good friend is like taking a break from his job because him and his partner are adopting a child. Her friend works as a personal assistant to this plastic surgeon named Hayes Flynn. And basically her friend gets her the job while he is taking a break. And Hayes is so grumpy. I think every MMC in the series is supposed to be grumpy, but yeah, Hayes is definitely a grumpy MMC. And Tolly does not like him because he is just like a workaholic. He's an asshole. He like sleeps around. He's just like, you know, he's not a good guy. Like she has every reason to not like this guy. But I always say this, through the power of forced proximity, they start to like each other. a lot more. You kind of find out, of course, that like Hayes has maybe always liked her. It's so good. Elizabeth O'Rourke writes amazing romance, at least in this series. We'll talk about her a little bit later as well, but this series is honestly flawless. If you have not read these books yet and you are a fan of contemporary romance, you have to read them. I really think you'd like them because I really like them. They're so addictive. I loved rereading this. I loved it just as much the second time. The other reread that I must talk about is The Dare by Harley LaRue. I actually own 2 copies of this book, so I can't believe I didn't grab it, but it'll of course be on the screen. So The Dare by Harley LaRue is an erotic novella. You cannot get around that. That is what this is. This book is incredibly smutty. This book is probably 80% smut. And did I rate it 5 stars? Yeah, I did rate it 5 stars. Twice. I've rated this book 5 stars twice. So yes, The Dare is a novella. It technically predates this duet called The Loser's Duet, but The Loser's Duet was written way after The Dare. I think what happened was Harley LaRue wrote The Dare, and then their readers asked for like more, or maybe Harley LaRue wanted to write more. I'm not really sure what happened, but is The Loser's Duet also phenomenal? Yes, I wouldn't be surprised if I end up rereading that sometime soon. Let me go ahead and give you a little rundown of The Dare. The Dare is a Halloween novella. The whole thing takes place at a Halloween party. Follows our main character, Jess, who was kind of like this like popular girl in high school. She, I think, was like a cheerleader. She was also kind of mean. Like she was like a mean girl. This Halloween party, though, it takes place way after high school. Everyone is in college at this point, and it's kind of like almost like the first party where everyone is seeing each other again. At least that's the vibes that I get from it. And at this party, there is this one boy that Jess kind of bullied, sort of. Like she had like a situation with him in high school, and she was definitely mean to him for sure. And his name is Manson, and he is like very like alternative guy. I think he's dressed as like, I don't know what he's dressed as. I'll find fan art and I'll put him on the screen because you guys should see it. It's obviously very clear that Jess is like interested in the fact that he's here and wants to like be near him. And they end up playing a game of, what is it? This is how you know I'm old. What the fuck is it? Beer pong. Wow. Yeah, they're playing beer pong. It's like truth or dare beer pong, I think. Mostly dares. Manson dares her to do some very wild stuff. This book is pretty freaky. It's very kinky, but it's like so good. I don't know why I love this book so much, because usually with these like erotic novellas that I do read occasionally because I think that they're fun, but this one, I don't know what it is about it. It is so good. It's always been 5 stars for me. I can't explain it, guys. Just know that I really love this book and you should pick it up if you're interested in erotic novellas. The next question is the genre that you've been loving or reading the most. Obviously, I read tons and tons of romance. I'm reading less this year though. I've been reading a lot of horror. Some of it has been because of Summerween, but even prior to that, I had picked up a couple horror books as well. I read Rouge by Mona Awad at the beginning of this month, and I really credit this book for getting me a bit out of like this like reading funk. It was so fun reading this. It made me want to read so many more different things. I think I always tend to just like go back to romance because I love romance. I'm a huge romance reader. I'm a big advocate for the romance genre. I love being a romance reader. But one of my big goals this year was to read a bunch of different genres, and this really convinced me that I was making the right choice. And I'm not saying that this book is phenomenal or perfect, but I'm saying it did exactly what I needed to do, something that a romance book could not have done for me at the time. So yeah, I would say that I've mostly been reading romance and horror and like a couple thrillers. I'm always reading a few memoirs as well. There's still other genres that I need to tackle for my whole reading every genre challenge that I'm doing. The next question is a new release that you want to read this year but haven't yet, and there's tons. I honestly don't focus too much on new releases just because I really need to focus more on my physical TBR, and a lot of that is backlist stuff. But I did go to the bookstore recently, and it had been a while, but I did buy some books, and I think 3 books from there are honestly perfect for this question, because these are 3 books that I think I really want to get to by the end of the year, because I don't know, I've heard some really good things, or I'm just like generally very excited. So one is One Golden Summer by Carly Fortune. I've never read anything by Carly Fortune, but people are talking about this book like it is so good. And I do love the cover, so I wasn't like that upset to get it. This one I'd honestly love to read before the end of the summer, obviously, because it is like a summer book. Next, we have Left It Forever by Tara DeWitt. I've read Funny Feelings by Tara DeWitt, and I really liked it. I've also heard that this book is phenomenal, like so good. And based on my experience reading Funny Feelings, I do think that Tara DeWitt could do this like second chance romance really well. So this is another one. I think this would be fun to read also by the end of the summer, but I think I could easily move this into the fall too. And then finally, the newest release out of any of these three is A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping by Sangu Mandana. I did read the irregular, what is it? What the fuck is it called? The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. Man, I've seen a lot of people talk about this book recently because it just came out, and they always mess up saying the title of the previous book. And I was like, oh, I could easily say it. I remember that title so well, and look at me, I forgot it. But yeah, I read The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches a couple years ago, I think the year that it came out. And I thought it was really cute. I wouldn't say it was my favorite book ever. I would reread it though. It was really cute and sweet, and I would love to have that experience again with this book. I think those three are pretty good contenders. Oh, I guess also the newest book in the Rebel Blue Ranch series. I haven't read that yet either. That is the last book in the series, so that is one I would honestly love to read. The next question is the most anticipated read for the second half of the year. Again, at this point in my reading journey, I'm not too focused on new releases, so I don't like totally know everything that's coming out. I think Lila Sage is coming out with a new book. I believe it's called Soul Searching. That seems really interesting. I have a couple of arcs that are coming out later this year. I think I have, what is it, like Daddy Issues by Kate Goldbeck that I will be reading. That sounds interesting. I don't know what else, guys. Like I said, right now, I'm not focusing on new releases so much. I don't know. We'll see if anything comes out that I'm like, oh, I gotta read that. But right now, there's nothing I'm super anticipating. The next question is your biggest disappointment. And I have two books for this as well. One is 19 Claws and a Blackbird by Agustina Basterica. I read this for Summerween, and I didn't really like it so much. This is a collection of horror short stories, and I found it to be kind of messy. I found a lot of it to be very cynical, even though, yes, I know it's horror, but I found it to be overly cynical at times. I don't know, it just like wasn't that good, and I think I'm disappointed because I haven't read Tender as the Flesh yet, and now I'm concerned if I ever pick up that book, if I like won't like it. If anyone here, I think I said this at the end of my Summerween vlog too, but I'm reaching out here too. If any of you guys have read Tender as the Flesh and 19 Claws and a Blackbird, and you think that like I'll still like Tender as the Flesh even though I didn't like this, please let me know, because I am interested in that book and I still would like to check it out even though I don't own it. But I was definitely always planning on checking it out, but maybe less so now. Like it's definitely not a priority now. I was disappointed by this for sure, and also because I owned it for a pretty long time, and also it has like cat bites in it, so I can't even like sell it. And then another disappointing read for me, and honestly this one might be a little bit more disappointing than that one honestly, which is My Favorite Bad Decision by Elizabeth O'Rourke. I mentioned Elizabeth O'Rourke earlier, guys, remember, with the Devil series, my favorite romance series of all time. I did not like My Favorite Bad Decision. There's a lot of things I actually didn't like about it. My Favorite Bad Decision is a sister's ex-boyfriend romance, and I had no problem with that, honestly. Like, there were parts of the romance that were pretty cute and they were very Elizabeth O'Rourke. I didn't like love the setting. This whole thing, or most of it, is all about like climbing Mount Kilimanjaro, which I'm still unsure is ethical or not. I don't know. I think it's like slightly more ethical than climbing Everest, which that also happens at the end of the book, so I don't know. So the main character, Kit, one thing I really didn't like about her is she almost felt like very delusional, and not in the way that you like would normally think, like she thinks she can do something and she can't, but she kept thinking like, oh, I did this one thing, everyone hates me, everyone's mad, everyone's holding this thing against me. And it's like, literally no one's thinking that. Like, you are overreacting. It's one of those things, I think, where you can see when an author is trying to create some sort of conflict that's like just like not there, which is always annoying. But also I kind of seem to be in the minority of people that didn't like this book. Seems like a lot of the other people that like I follow on Goodreads that also love Elizabeth O'Rourke's other works also liked this book, but I just didn't like it. I think it really paled in comparison to Elizabeth O'Rourke's like Devil series, and even the couple of books that I've read in her Summer series as well. The next question is the biggest surprise, and I'm gonna go with Lights Out by Navessa Allen. I don't know why this was surprising to me, but I actually really like this book. I didn't think I would like love it, even though, I mean, I actively chose to like listen to this audiobook, but I don't know if I'm the only one that sometimes I'll go into books thinking, you know, this isn't going to be my favorite thing ever, but I want to try it out. That was my mindset going into Lights Out, and I ended up really liking it. Was it a 5-star read? No, it was like a 4, but a very solid 4-star. I don't always love dark romance, and I don't always love funny dark romance. Like, I didn't love Butcher and Blackbird. It's hard for me to actually think a book is funny, but I thought that some parts of this were actually funny, and I was pretty into it. I did really really like this book. And the only reason it's not a 5-star is honestly because sometimes I was like, oh, this is so funny. And then like I'd come back the next day and be like, oh, this is so cringy. I was going back and forth a little bit, but overall, I did really like this book. And yeah, the audiobook was super, super good. I have the audiobook for the second book. Everyone says the second book is, you know, totally different. It's not as humorous, which I actually appreciate, honestly. It makes more sense to me that, you know, different characters would have different thoughts. They're not all going to have the same sense of humor. So I actually really appreciate that. But I am also glad to know that going into it, so I don't expect something just like Lights Out. Next is a question that I added because I wanted to talk about a couple books, and that is books you've DNF'd. I just threw this in here right here. There are 3 books that I want to talk about here. One, Kiss of the Basilisk. This book was popular a couple of months ago. Like everyone was reading this book. I DNF'd this book because they wouldn't stop having sex. They won't stop. It's constant, okay? I have read hundreds of spicy romances, okay? I love a spicy romance. This was too much. It was too much. They need to slow down, okay? Like it was unreal. I don't know how anyone finished that book because it is a 500-page, I'm looking at it. That's why I keep looking over here. It is like a 500-page erotic book. All sex. All go, 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 go. I don't even get to the part that's like infamous in this book. I thought about continuing just to get there because it's like wild, but I couldn't do it. Another book that I DNF'd was P.S. You're Intolerable by Julia Wolf. This is the 3rd book in the series. For some reason I started with it, but I didn't finish the book anyway, so whatever. This book was so boring. So boring. I think it has a really fun concept. The main character, she is pregnant at the start of the book, not by the MMC. The MMC is actually her boss, but her boss is like very aloof. He's very serious, very like workaholic kind of guy. So he doesn't even like notice that she's pregnant until like she's about to go on maternity leave. And then all of a sudden, as soon as he realizes that she's pregnant, he's like wanting to take care of her. And, you know, later on in the book, he does become like very much so a caretaker for her child, which I think is really sweet. I did realize I don't like babies in books. I don't like babies in books at all, it turns out. I thought I could handle it, but like, especially I think like the newborn phase, I don't want to read about that. I don't at all. And also on top of a lot of just like taking care of baby stuff, it was pretty boring. The only interesting thing was that this man had a lactation kink, but like the rest of the book was so boring. It felt so out of place, which I don't think I'd read before because I normally don't read books with babies. You need the baby to lactate. One thing though, I am grateful to this book for showing me that I really truly do not like babies in books because I was kind of struggling to think about the things I didn't like in books for a while, and now I definitely know. And then finally, I DNF'd the second book in this series that I started called Cursed Legacies. The first book is called Blood Oath by Morgan B. Lee. The second book is Shadowheart, and I DNF'd Shadowheart. Something to know about me is that I love an academy fantasy romance so much. There will be times when I am just like on my Kindle or like on the Kindle app and I will just search Fantasy Academy romance, dark academia romance. I love it. I'm always looking for something. I think just like Zodiac Academy, but that does not exist. So Blood Oath is one of those books that I found, and I enjoyed Blood Oath. I think I ended up giving it 3 or 4 stars. I thought it was actually pretty well written for this genre of book. The writing for these books can be very hit or miss, and I was like, okay, maybe this is the one. Maybe I have finally found a series that I will actually like and continue to read. Obviously not, because I DNF'd the second book. What I didn't like about this series, at least to the point where I'd gotten, is we were so in the dark about the FMC and like her abilities and everything, because, you know, she had these like magical abilities and she was apparently super dangerous and stuff, but we didn't know why. She was keeping it a secret from us. I want to know, like, if I'm in your head, I want to know what your deal is. I want to know what we're keeping secret from everyone else. I don't want to be in the dark about it. So I just gave up because I was like, meh. If you won't tell me what's going on by the second book, you're out of here. And so it was out of there. The next question is your favorite new author. And for this, I'm going to choose Meg Smitherman. I read Thrum by her and I really enjoyed it. This is like a sci-fi horror novella with a little bit of romance. There's some like romance elements, but it's not a traditional romance by any means. Really like this. I also read this during Summerween. This is the book that I read in the dark. And I thought that Meg Smitherman just did a really good job with the amount of pages that were in this book. Like, it's only 120 pages and she really packs it in there, and I thought it was so well done. I really liked it. It is definitely a psychological horror. You don't know if what you're seeing is real. I felt very like uneasy at the end of the book. Like I was feeling the effects of the book after I finished it, which doesn't always happen for me. So I'm really, really excited to read more from her. And I've been told that if I liked them, I would like pretty much all of her books. So I'm very, very excited to read more. I wouldn't be surprised if I end up reading most of her backlist and her newer release by the end of the year. I'm planning on reading Entity very soon. I want to do like a reading sci-fi books for a week thing. So I'm definitely going to read it there. The next question is your newest favorite character. And I am not someone that like super connects to characters all the time. Like I don't always like fangirl over every like romantic lead or anything like that, honestly. It's very rare that I'll find an MMC where I'm like, oh, I really like him. He makes me want to like twirl my hair, you know, like I just like read the book for the story. I'm not someone that self-inserts, so I don't fangirl maybe the way that some people do. The only time that I would say that I have fangirled was for Sixth Hand from Ruling Sixth Hand. I loved him, and I loved him so much. He was so broody. I really liked it. I knew when I was reading this that he was one of my new favorite like book boyfriends or whatever. And it made me think of all the characters that I would consider maybe to be like my book boyfriends, and the majority of them are not human, which is really great. And then a female character that I have loved this year was in A Chance for Love by Beverly Jenkins. The main character, her name is Lorelli. She was so cool, guys. I want to be her when I grow up. I just really, really liked her. This is a historical romance, so it is set, I believe, in like maybe the late 1800s or something like that. And Lorelli is not married or anything like that. She actually gets her money through gambling. It's like what her dad did, so now she does it. And so her profession is a gambler, and she has made tons and tons of money. So she is like very, very independent, which is always cool to see in these historical romances. But aside from that, I just thought she was so cool and so smart. One of the biggest plot points of the series is she starts to take care of these like twin girls. I love the way that she treats them. She treats them like adults and just like they're their own people. Obviously they are. I just really liked how that relationship was done, and I thought she was so cool. I want to read more Beverly Jenkins if more of her FMCs are like this, because wow. Just wow. That is, every time I talk about this book, I just say, wow. The next question is a book that made you cry. And I've probably cried for a lot of these books. I cry very, very easily. I know that I cried during Ruling Sixth Hand because my review is I cried, I rejoiced, I don't know what it was, but I said that I cried. Another review that I said that I cried apparently was My Favorite Bad Decision, my most disappointing book of the year. Apparently I cried. I'll cry for anything, but one that I remember crying and thinking like, wow, this is like really moving me was in Night Sky with Exit Wounds by Ocean Vuong. This is a book of poetry. I wish I could tell you which poem I cried in so I could like read it to you or just tell you which one it is, but I don't remember. But I remember crying, and I thought it was... This whole book of poetry is honestly very, very good. I don't read a lot of poetry, so some of it may have gone over my head, but the ones that didn't, I really loved. Yeah, I definitely cried reading this. The next question is a book that made you happy. I mean, I think a lot of these make me happy since I do read a lot of romance, and those by definition have to have a happy ending. Ooh, I know. The Tea Dragon Society by Kay O'Neill. This is a middle grade graphic novel, and it is just so warm and cozy and sweet. I meant to read more of these. I haven't yet. I read this right before going to sleep one day, and I just felt so warm and cozy, and it's just so sweet and so cute. The art is so beautiful. I really, really want one of these little tea dragons that are in the book. They're so cute. I think of all the books that I've read, though, I think this might be the one that has like made me the happiest. Next is the most beautiful book you've bought or received this year. My immediate thought always goes to special editions, and I haven't been buying too many because I am trying to like get rid of books kind of soon, but there's two that I've gotten that I really thought are so beautiful. Both of them are really, really nice. First is this special edition of Funny Feelings by Tara DeWitt from the Bookish Box. It is so, so beautiful. Let me actually take the dust jacket off and show you the reverse because I think that is so gorgeous. I need to reverse it, but I just like haven't yet. I'm like literally obsessed with this. I think this is so beautiful. This is honestly my favorite part. Yeah, I really, really loved the reverse jacket of this. And then another special edition that I have gotten this year is the first book of the Zodiac Academy series. These special editions are actually sold directly from the authors. Yeah, I think this is just so gorgeous. It's so well done. I love the blue, and it has sprayed edges that are, once the whole series is in, it'll like all connect. shocked. And since it was made by the authors, I think a lot of thought was put in by the people that, you know, created the series. There's some really, really fun art in the book as well. Yeah, I love this special edition. I can't wait till more of them come in. I think I've ordered through the 4th book. I still don't know if I'm going to order the whole series. They are getting more expensive because the books get bigger and bigger, so we'll have to see. The next question is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? There's so many books that I need to read by the end of the year, but I think I will specifically call out these books that I have in the corner of my bedroom on TikTok, and I will eventually bring the series over to YouTube and Instagram, I promise. But the series is called Reading My Books, and it's just like a little TBR game that I came up with and did not come up with a name for. And it's just like a bunch of books that I want to read, and the whole point of the game is just to get through that stack of books in hopes to finish that and then add more books to a stack so I can go through my physical TBR, because it's really bad, guys. I think I've read 2 books. I'm on my 3rd book now, so I still have about 26 or 25 books left over there. Yeah, I think that is like a good section of books that I can like have a goal to finish by the end of the year. They're all honestly pretty popular books. They're a lot of newer releases. Also primarily romance. I think it's like a pretty good sample of my reading tastes. So those would be really, really great to read by the end of the year. And guys, we're actually almost done now. The last 2 questions are about videos, like YouTube videos that I've made and stuff like that. So the next question is your favorite video or post that you've made this year. I definitely took a little bit of a hiatus of posting YouTube videos. I think I didn't post for a couple months or so. And I also don't post as often as I would like to. I would love to post way, way more often. But definitely, I think my favorite video is my spring TBR video. I really, really, really like that video a lot. If you haven't seen it, I would love if you went to check it out. I framed my spring TBR as more of like a mood board. So I had these reading moods that I might be in. I made little mood boards for them on Pinterest and I like inserted them. I really, really like that video. Yeah, so that's definitely my favorite one. And then the final question is a video that I'm excited to make by the end of the year. There are so many. I love making YouTube videos. Like I said, I want to post way more often. One video that I don't think will actually be posted this year, but I do want to start it, is reading books set in Houston. I keep putting this off. I don't know why. I think I'm like very nervous because I want it to be a really good video. That is one that I'm really excited to start and maybe finish this year, but I think I will end up posting it next year. Like I mentioned, I'm planning on doing a video of like reading only sci-fi for a week, so maybe I could do that with other genres as well. I'm also thinking about actually doing Vlogmas this year. I tried last year, but I also decided like the day before, so it didn't really work out very well. This year, I think if I try to do it and I really plan and pre-film videos, I think maybe I actually could. I'm just excited to like hopefully post more YouTube videos by the end of the year, honestly. And that was the very last question. So we are now done with this mid-year reading tag. I know that I'm filming this a little bit later. maybe we're like kind of getting sort of to the end of the year, but that's okay. That's really, really okay. And of course, I do wish that I had more books to talk to you guys about, but you know, this is just my realistic reading year. This is just realistically how I've been reading this year. At the beginning of the video, I was saying that my reading has been a little lackluster, but maybe my thoughts on that would change by the end of the tag. Maybe they have. I don't think so though. I still feel like my reading year has been a little lackluster, but I'm always looking forward. I'm always looking up. I'm always like assuming that my reading is going to get better and better. So I don't feel like I'm doomed or anything like that. Like this is just how it's going to be forever. I know that I'll get out of this funk. It's just where I am right now, and that's okay. And so if you're also like in a reading slump or just like a funk in general, just know it will be okay, and you know, you'll get past it eventually. Just don't try to push it. I'm also not trying to push it. But thank you guys so much for watching. This was a lot of fun. I hope that you guys had fun watching as well. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.